Hello everyone, my name is Sheila.
I'm Joe.
And we are coming to you for our first YouTube video. And our channel is going to be called One Dish, Two Ways. And this is why. We are a household of two. We are empty nesters at this point. But we follow two different ways of eating. Real quickly, I follow a whole food plant-based diet. And that started on August 24th of 2023 as a way to cure my migraines. I met with a plant-based doctor. And she said I need to cut out alcohol, sugar, meat, dairy, and I need to include whole grains and vegetables and fruit and beans and legumes. So I've been eating that way since August 24th, and I've lost 35 pounds. I've only had 7 migraines and for the entire time instead of 5 to 6 a week, and I was living off migraine pills, which is no way to live. So we have found a way to make it work for us. He follows a more keto lifestyle where he eats meats and very little processed white sugars. So we found a way to make it work for us, and we thought it could be helpful for other people out there. So our dish today is fajitas. So I'm going to start the video, and we are going to bake our vegetables in the oven. I think it's such a time saver that way, because then I can throw these in the oven and be doing other things in the kitchen instead of standing there and having to stir them. And we don't like the same vegetables. So what I try to do is space them out so that if he wants more onion, he's not a huge fan of the peppers, and he definitely doesn't like the mushrooms, then nothing's really touching that he doesn't like. And I'm sure that that's not the only household that that's the way they do it. I also don't cook with very much oil at all. So I have a half sheet pan here, and it's got a silicone mat. Oh, I can't get it up. And this will make it so I don't need to add any oil. The vegetables have enough water in them that as they cook in our 400-degree oven, which is now preheated, that they're going to let out that. Plus, we're going to put some seasoning on it. So I've already cut the onions. These are just regular yellow onions, green pepper, orange pepper, and a red. These are portobello mushrooms, and this is what I wanted to show you. So when you get the portobello mushrooms, they'll come in a pack, either 2 or 3, sometimes up to 5 in a pack. And I have different ways I cook them. For baking them, I like to cut them into these strips because I like them like fajita way on a tortilla. But this is what I have found, and this is just my personal preference. So I always take off this stem, and I don't mind eating the stem. What I don't like is these gills. I think it gives it a weird taste. So I just take a spoon, and I just simply shave them off, if you will. Now, if I'm cooking this for a burger, I do something different. And so that'll be a video in the summer when we're in grilling season. But for now, I take off, I'm not super precise about it, but I take off as much as I can very easily. And then that'll go in the compost bin. And then I will just cut up the stem. And I'm going to cut these into strips. I'm going to cut them a little thicker than I do the peppers and onions, just because these are going to cook faster than the peppers and onions. But we all know when you make peppers and onions, you start out with this, it's like spinach, and you end up with this. So go a little bit more than what you think you're going to use. Plus, leftovers is always good. Hold on, I'm going to put the seasoning on. This is a taco seasoning that I make myself. We'll put the recipe in the show comments. And I always just use a jar from something we've had before. No point in buying another container. In fact, I don't even get lazy and don't even take the whole label off. But on the top, I always say that this is taco seasoning, and it's 3 tablespoons equals 1 packet. Now, if you have a packet, that's perfect. I'm just going to sprinkle some on. I don't really measure. I just go for it. In fact, last night I made some lentils with this, and I didn't even use a spoon. And I put too much on the lentils, so they were a little more coated. And I'm just going to use my hands and kind of spread these around. Still trying to keep them separated. Because like I said, then Joe can pick how many peppers he wants first, and he can get more onions. And he definitely doesn't want the mushrooms. So they're going to go in a 400-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. And that's really personal preference. If you prefer them more cooked, then go more 25 to 30. If you like them less cooked, then go 20, 25. So we're going to put these in. I do have it on the convection setting of my oven, but I set it for 400, and I think that does it at 375. So, and now Joe's going to show you what he does with his flank steak.
Okay, welcome back. So what I've got here is a piece of flank steak that I've gotten from, we get ours at Sam's Club, but you can look for it in a lot of places, or a skirt steak. I get a little section about yay long. I've already pre-cut some of this. We've already laid it out, and what I need to do next is I'm going to finish showing you how I cut this. We've already washed everything, so we're good to go. So you just basically, I cut a little bit of a bias. I just cut through, and then once we have it done, I'm going to just put it all on a plate here. And this is some homemade fajita seasoning. Sheila uses more of a taco seasoning base. Mine's made for fajitas. And what I'm going to do is we're just going to season this, and then once the veggies come out of the oven, then what we'll do is I'll take the veggies that I want and the proportion that I want to go with my fajitas, and we'll put that into a skillet, and I'll stir fry mine. And then Sheila, of course, will do hers the way she wants to prepare it to go on the tortillas.
Hello everyone, the house smells so good and the veggies are done. 20-minute timer just went off. Let's get them out. Oh, look at this. Smell-o-vision. I wish you had it. So, these look amazing. See what I mean? Like the mushrooms go down to hardly anything. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. So, these veggies are perfect for me. Joe is going to take what he wants and stir fry, I say that in quotes, in a skillet with his flank steak. The flank steak, you saw how thin he cut that. It is not going to take any time at all for that to come together. And then we're going to show you how we're actually going to eat these and serve these. And the reason we're doing the one dish two ways is so that when you have people in your household that eat differently, you don't necessarily have to make one whole meal over here for them and one whole meal over here for you. You can find a way to make them together. And so fajitas in anything Mexican can kind of be that way, because you'll see we'll have different toppings over here, but everybody just goes along and just makes it the way they want. You could make bowls, you can make wraps, you can make, what else am I thinking? Wraps, bowls, or salads. And then like a taco salad. And people, I know my friends and I, we do this a lot because it's just easy. They can have a different meat choice and we make a bunch of veggies and then everybody makes their bowl. And I do want to comment, I did say at the beginning of the video that I started August 24th. This is January of 2024, and I started August 24th of 2023. So it has been about 5 months that I've been on this health journey. So it gives you just perspective of, I didn't say that. So, okay, now we're going to flip around, and he's going to take what he wants, and he's going to fry them up. So I'm going to get the camera.
So here's my meat. It's been seasoned, been sitting here a little bit, letting the meat absorb those flavors from the seasoning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, like Sheila said, I'm more on the peppers and onions. More onions than peppers, really, to be honest with you. And I'm just going to put some of these on here and leave plenty for her because she likes all that good stuff. And what we're going to do is we're just going to come over here to my skillet. It's already been preheating here. And we're just going to put it all in there. And we're just going to let this finish cooking. The onions and peppers aren't too far from being done. And the steak takes no time at all. This is on high. This is one of our, one of those highfalutin ovens that's got the big burner on it. So I'm going to add a little bit more seasoning just so the peppers and onions have a little flavor here as well.
His fajita seasoning, in addition to the taco seasoning I put on the veggies.
We'll add a few more.
Yay, veggies.
Of the peppers and onions. And we basically, I've got this on high, and we're just going to let it toss. I'm going to put my dish here in the sink and come right back to this, let that cook.
So while that's going, I figure I'd give some other tips. We have done sheet pan fajitas with chicken meat. If you have the chicken cut into thin strips, you can also put that on a sheet pan with a little bit of olive oil if you want and some seasoning, and put that in there. And that way it's all done in the oven and you just have your side dishes and your toppings. But I know for the steak, he prefers it in the skillet. The chicken, he doesn't mind in the oven. So it's just a thought. And then, of course, you could also just do hamburger meat with taco seasoning and make it more like a taco bar or a bowl bar. So it gives you other options depending on what your family really likes. And leftovers make great wraps, make great lunches. And many times I've put leftover hamburger in the freezer with the taco seasoning already on it and made. And that way I can pull it out for him on a quick night where we have to get going pretty quick. And all he has to do is put it in the microwave after it defrosts and makes a quick taco. So those are some other tips for you.
I did forget to mention that you probably saw some oil in the skillet when I first started. Just a little bit. It's a non-stick pan, but that oil is fused with, it's like garlic oil. So it does add a little bit more flavor to the dish as well. Like Sheila said earlier, taking one entree or one dish and turning it into what works for multiple people within the household. So everybody's sitting and having their meal together, his way, her way, however you are separating it out. We tend to do a lot of food prep. On Wednesday, Thursday, I will sit down at work or home during dinner and we'll plan our menu for the next week. And when I say plan, it's basically we take our favorite cuisines. You got Mexican night, Italian night, American night, Chinese night, or / pizza night. All depends on what cuisine we're doing. And then on Thursday or Friday, before we go shopping for our food prep, we will actually decide what dish we're making for that night. So that way, come Friday, we've got our dishes planned. We know what ingredients we need. Then we just come home, we search through the pantry, see what it is we gotta have for the dish, and then we go out and buy those items to make it work. And then we are food prepping Saturday, Sunday, and then we have our meals throughout the week. Now, throughout the week, for example, like these fajitas here, I'm going to get probably maybe one side dish that I'll take to work as a leftover throughout the week, and I'll probably get 2 or 3 fajitas out of this. If we're doing Italian night, we'll probably make a big dish about this size. Of course, I make my half the way I like to have it. This week, I think we're going to be doing lasagna. So my portion will obviously be traditional. I call it traditional lasagna, your beef hamburger lasagna. Of course, Sheila's got a big plan for how she wants to do hers, and to keep it vegan for what her diet is, plant-based. So that's pretty much it. I've turned the heat off. I'm just kind of letting it finish. The meat is nice and tender. It's not overcooked. It's just probably a good medium well inside. The vegetables are nice, soft, and tender the way I like them. Sheila likes hers with a little bit of al dente, but most people, how you like it, make it the way it is. There's no, cooking is about enjoying yourself, having fun, and cooking it up. It's not like baking where you have an actual recipe and you have ingredients and specific amounts you have to have to make it work.
Exactly.
So you can do whatever. So this is off. I'm just going to let it sit and finish. And then
when we come back, we're going to show you how we each finish ours and what kind of wraps we use. So stay tuned. Okay, who's ready to eat? We are. So let's do this. So I'm going to make mine first. So the first thing I did was I took all the peppers and onions since he took what he wanted, and now I've mixed them all together because I like them all. So I did that. I got out the tortillas that I'm going to use. I use these sprouted tortillas. They're made of Whole Foods. I will caution you, if you do get these, you need to keep them in the fridge or the freezer, because with the not having any preservatives, they will go bad if you leave them on the counter. So I'm going to take out one of these and prep my, I'm going to call it a Mexican wrap. I don't know what you want to call it. And I'm going to put some of the veggies on. So I got the mushrooms, the peppers, the onions. Sometimes I put beans on here. I just don't have any today. And I've got shredded lettuce. I've also got some arugula, very peppery. So I want to get some greens on there. So I'm going to use the peppery arugula. I do like the crunch of just standard old iceberg. So that's what this is. And I just cut this myself. If you just cut, I guess I could show that in another video, but just chop it really thin, and then you get it just like the bag lettuce at the store. And then, of course, I'm going to put salsa on it. Now, this is salsa that I make about every 10 days for us, so I'm happy to do a video on it. It is literally the simplest thing. It's a couple canned ingredients, and you make it as spicy as you want. We like chipotle flavor, so I always add a chipotle and adobo. And then if you want, you could put some cilantro on it if you like the fresh on it, which I'm all about the fresh. And as with most burritos, I probably made this too big. I will not be able to barely fold it. I'm barely going to be able to fold it. And then I'm going to serve it with some cilantro rice. So this is another very simple, and to come will be lots of Instapot or what do you call that? I have the Pampered Chef one. It's the quick cooker. So any of the plug-in pressure cookers, because I think that rice and lentils and beans are so easy to cook in there. This is just jasmine white rice. So you could even cook it on the stove. And when it came out, I chopped up some cilantro and forgot to buy them at the store. So I ended up using some lemon juice and lemon pepper seasoning. And this is so, so good. You could also, if you want more of a Spanish rice, take your rice, add a little salsa. You got a mock version of a Spanish rice. So that's the way you can serve this. Or if you had a bunch of people over, you could also just have bowls and everybody make a bowl. So that's how we're going to do that. So now let's see how Joe is going to make his. So let me move mine. I will go ahead and speak for this part. These are the tortillas that he likes. These are the low carb ones. So he really likes these. These do really well. They're super soft, so they'll fold really easily. We've made quesadillas, burritos, all kinds of things out of these. So let me switch the camera now.
Okay, so I got my chips. My plan today is chips and salsa with my beef burritos. Chips, corn chips, or when you're talking about my kind of diet with doing more of a keto style, low carb, chips are more of a weekend pleasure. It's not something I would do during the week typically. I have listened to enough videos and people, experts out there over the time, and they say to encourage you to eat your desires. If you have a craving for something, eat it, but you just have to keep that in proportion and use it as you like in a minimal time. Got some pre-shredded that we did earlier. Yeah, this is Monterey Jack.
It's Colby Jack, so it's Colby and Monterey Jack. We buy the, I don't know about your groceries, but ours have gone up, and we have found, number one, if you buy the block of cheese and you shred it yourself, you get more for your buck for that, and also we just think the texture is better. So we just did it ahead of time, so you don't have to watch us shred cheese. That's not exciting.
So basically, if you're on this kind of diet, most of your cheeses is all free to eat. Of course, most of your vegetables you can eat pretty well as you want. Corn and a few other vegetables are a little higher on sugars and have some carbs in there, but your green beans, your typical day-to-day vegetables, salads, you got to watch your salad dressing a little bit. Like I said, Sheila makes this homemade salsa, and it's basically a tomato base with all your vegetables.
Cilantro, onion, tomatoes, a chipotle and adobo, and garlic, and it all goes in the food processor. It's amazing. In the summer, I use fresh tomatoes, but right now, obviously, it's winter. We're going to use, and we live in central Illinois, so there's no fresh tomatoes growing out there on the vine for us. So we use canned tomatoes.
The only other thing I might typically add to this, in traditional way, you could probably, like Sheila mentioned earlier, you could do some refried bean. I like to spread a little bit of that down. If we do go to a Mexican restaurant, I'll use some of that bean dip that you get on the side, and you can kind of spread that out across here on your tortilla to give you a good sticky base to keep everything in. But other than that, that's pretty much it. We're going to go to the plate, and I'm going to enjoy my lunch.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so we're going to sign off on our first video, but tell us in the comments, what dish do you want to watch us do 2 ways? Have a good day, everybody. Bye.